Jeremy Diamond is the founding CEO of the Royal Canadian Air Force Foundation, and here ahead of a very special year, next year, 100 years of the Air Force.
Incredible. We're a very young country, so we don't have a lot of centennials to commemorate, but the Royal Canadian Air Force Centennial next year is going to be an incredible celebration. Such rich history in the Air Force in Canada, so we're excited to celebrate with everybody next year.
And you have a really personal connection to the Air Force.
I do. My grandfather served in the RCAF in the Second World War. He was stationed out in Gander in Newfoundland. Didn't tell me too many stories about what he did, but he was part of the over 1 million Canadians that served in the Air Force in the Second World War in a country of 12 million. So we really made an incredible contribution during that time.
And you said that we really punched above our weight.
We do that in Canada. In a small country with the fourth largest Air Force in the world during the Second World War, a lot of that history, very, very proud history, and something that we cover in the book, Pathway to the Stars.
Okay, and this book is available now. It just came out, and it handily is available at the gift shop here at the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum. You said that they were one of your first customers.
They were, and they are. So yeah, available at the Warplane Heritage Museum, any bookstore across the country, online. It's already an Amazon bestseller, so we're really excited about it.
Because you want the next generation to know what the past generation has done.
It's important that we understand the history of the Air Force and aviation in Canada so we can plot our way forward. It's not only the 100 years, but it's what the next 100 years look like. The old planes, Billy Bishop, some of those old photos and those old stories, but also the moon, Mars, in the future. That's part of the RCAF story.
Because Jeremy, the astronaut, I forgot his last name.
Hansen.
Jeremy Hansen.
Yeah.
How could I forget his last name? He was part of the Air Force.
Of course, he is part of the Air Force.
Yes.
Like many Chris Hadfield before him, like many astronauts, they're Air Force trained, Air Force served, and he'll be going to the moon about a year from now. So we're continuing to write the story of the Air Force history. So it's 100 years past, but then the generations to come, young people getting involved in what they want to do in the Air Force and aviation going forward. Those are incredible stories to continue to tell.
Yeah, and we want to talk about young men and young women. So many women contributed to the Air Force.
Absolutely. We have incredible stories here that tell the whole story. So this isn't only about the men in the planes in the Second World War, but it's what are the firsts? What are some of the women that have made an incredible contributions? People of color, the first Black Canadians to run a combat mission in the Second World War. These are all in this book. I'm not going to ruin the whole book for everybody, but 100 stories, 100 years is a good opportunity to get the whole entire story, and then maybe a couple of things that we may have missed, so you get to learn a little bit more as you continue to read and find out more of the story of the history of the RCAF.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're an historian. Anything in this book when it was being researched that surprised you, that really shocked you and stood out?
A lot. I think one incredible story is about the 1948 RCAF Flyers, a hockey team that was made up of RCAF servicemen that came back from the Second World War after the war in 1945 and then went to create a hockey team that went to Switzerland for the Olympics and won the gold medal. Of servicemen, not NHL players at the time,
right,
but these are servicemen that played hockey, put together a team in '48 and won the Olympics called the RCAF Flyers. So
very cool.
One of 100 stories, and many of which that people just don't know. And this is an opportunity to teach Canadians, especially young Canadians, about the history of the Air Force and aviation in Canada, and also inspire them, maybe to join up, maybe to learn a little bit more, maybe to come to this museum and find out a little bit more about that history.
Okay, and one of the authors, Mike Hood, is going to actually be the keynote speaker tomorrow.
Yeah, he is. So Mike Hood, former RCAF commander, is going to be speaking at the ceremony in Hamilton at the Warplane Heritage Museum for Remembrance Day. Not only commander, but an incredible historian of RCAF history. And he was wonderful to work with us and is one of our co-founders of the RCAF Foundation. Okay, one of the great reasons to come up here tomorrow. Thanks very much, Jeremy.
Thank you. And again, you can get the book tomorrow. And tomorrow at 10:30, our special coverage starts of the Lest We Forget ceremony at Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum. Starts at 10:30 here live and also at CHCH.